This is Lundon Calling, show number 11 of the London Bridge Talk Show, where we bridge the gaps with 3 generations of Gabby gays. Bringing the generation gaps together are your hosts, Sean Chandler, Donny Winter, and Ace Lundon. As the elder at age 80 gap, I shall moderate the show with Sean at age 50 and Donny at age 25 or something like that. And let's see how the generations think. Yeah, we might be called a gay male answer to the view. I doubt it, but that's a thought anyway. Welcome to the show, folks. Please fasten your seatbelts. No topic is taboo, and we warn you in advance that we do have potty mouths. Folks, there is so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us. It is hard to tell which of us ought to reform the rest of us. Do you realize that? And I'm thinking especially during this political season, so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us. Who in the world do we have? How do we judge one another, or do we judge one another? And we've got a lot of thinking that we have to do, that's for sure. Well, hello, Sean, and hello, Donny.
Hi, guys. Hi, listeners.
Hello, everyone.
How have you guys been this last week or two, whatever?
Peachy.
Perfect.
Peachy and perfect. 2 peas, okay. 2 peas in a pod, okay.
I not so perfect as our own Donny Winter.
Yeah, I heard he met the man of his future. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
His future
my God.
husband.
Oh, my God.
What was the name of that guy, Donny?
Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert, okay. Did it surprise you that he was so much taller than you may have thought?
No, I already knew he was tall, but I think he was wearing elevated shoes that night also, so I think that contributed to his height.
A little bit of spikes there, yes.
So what was it that he whispered in your ear that was so mind-boggling for you?
Okay, well, I'm just going to describe to you how it's initiated, okay? So
Please do. Don't leave anything out.
Okay, so I obviously I had VIP tickets, and we went to a meet and greet, which is where he was. And I go in there, and as soon as I enter the room, like, he's smiling at me and, like, staring at me, and I'm just like, oh my God, holy hell, I cannot believe this is happening. So I go up to him. I had, like, a thought in my mind. I was like, confidence, eye contact. Don't be awkward, Donny. Don't do something stupid. And I was like, all right. So I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, I'm Donny. It's nice to meet you. You're wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And then he responds by, do I know you? You look familiar. So at this moment during the situation, I was, like, trying to not pee on myself. I'm like, what? What? And he was like, did we, like, do radio together at some point? I'm like, no, but I have a YouTube channel. And he was like, oh my God, you did a video about one of my songs once, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, I did. So, of course, at that time, they were like, picture time. So he pulls me in for a hug, and I get a picture with him. And I leave, and I'm like, you're so awesome. Thank you for everything. And then I just leave and somehow not cry. Like, I figured I would be bawling my eyes out, but I was in such shock I didn't. So that, in a nutshell, is my experience meeting my husband.
Your experience of being a fan of a so-called star, that's interesting. I've often wondered about this fandom situation with regard to stars, Hollywood stars, etc., or political stars even, where people follow you around, or you follow them around, and is that just a little bit of idolatry?
I don't know if this is necessarily a fan-star relationship that we have on our hands here, Ace. I'm thinking you and I are going to need to go hat shopping pretty soon.
Go what?
Hat shopping. for an up and coming wedding.
Oh fuck. Oh god. I'm fanning myself over here.
Do you have the vapors?
I have the mega vapors.
But
Well, it was just like, honestly, when I went in there, like, because I understand that, I am a fan and he is the celebrity and all that jazz. So when I went in there, I just anticipated a quick hug, hi, you're awesome, quick picture, and then I'm ready for the next person, Like, I did not expect him to tell me that he has seen me before on YouTube, and because I've always believed that my YouTube channel is just insignificant, but apparently sometimes what you put out there is seen by people you idolize in every way. So that was a very surreal experience for me.
And that is true, Donny. We do not know who looks at our shows or listens to the shows and things like that. And sometimes it really surprises us, It's kind of a nice surprise when a big shot says, "Oh, I heard your show," That's nice. But going back to this fan thing and idolatry, and especially because we're in this political season where people, like Trump is idolized. He really is. And Bernie is idolized by thousands of people. Now, is that the same idolatry as what happened with, say, the gold calf back in the days of Moses and such, where they idolized the golden calf? Now, I don't know about you, but Sean, I think you're going to end up having it before you die. I think you're going to have a fan club or something like that. And Donny, I know you are. You already got it.
He already has one.
Yeah, he's got it already. Now, and I used to have it, and it's an interesting thing for a person in the business to have a fan club, where in my case it was all these girls. Oh my God, just crazy, and it scared me when it first started happening, and I saw girls literally passing out in the front of the auditorium seats and sliding off the seats onto the floor. And it just really did a number on my head. And when I got backstage, my manager then says, "Get back out there. Get back out there. They love you." Well, yes, they did love me, but it's strange. And then to find them following your entire career all over the place. And it's like you're being stalked almost. Or is it just a little bit of idolatry? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a valid question. Like, I had never experienced anything like that, Ace, until this past weekend, actually. I was at I went to 2 of his concerts. Yes, I'm one of those people. And, one of the other, they're called Glamberts. His fan base are called Glamberts. And one of the other, this younger girl came up to me, and she was like, I don't know, she was like 18 or 19. She was like, "Oh my God, you're Donny Winter, right?" And I'm like, "I think, yeah." She was like, "Oh my God, I've seen you on Twitter before, blah, I've seen your videos before." And she asked me for my autograph at a certain point too, and I was just like, "Whoa, what is going on? Like, what just happened? Like, what?" Like, I was like, "You can have a hug. Like, I'll give you a hug." And so, I did not expect that. And I think, Ace, you were kind of mentioning whether or not that's considered idolatry. I don't necessarily think it's idolatry in this sense, because in my opinion, people are lonely, and I really feel like they look to identify with people that they see out there in the world, whether it be on media or, whatever. And I think that's their way of feeling close to people who have similar interests.
Oh, it's so tough to be popular like you two.
Yeah.
my God.
Well, you'll get there, Don. You're young enough yet.
I don't know if I would call this popularity.
Well, sure. Yeah, you guys are both really super popular. I am more of the fangirl. I'm not the one people are fangirling over. I'm the one who just walks up to people and starts, babbling incoherently about how much I love them. But it's typically like writers. Writers are the ones that I go crazy.
I noticed that about you with Patricia Nell Warren, Sean. You were drooling.
Oh, yeah.
You were almost drooling,
Yeah. I believe she said, just so you know, we all go to the bathroom and take dumps or something like that.
Yeah.
She was trying to put it in perspective and calm me the fuck down.
You needed to calm your tits, didn't you?
Like so bad. And even still, it was crazy. But you did mention that we do have potty mouths, right, Ace?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure, since I dropped an F-bomb right there.
Music to my ears.
Right, exactly. Hey, I've got a topic that I kind of wanted to talk about last week, but we ran out of time. And Ace, well, first of all, it'll give me a chance to fangirl over a show that I'm loving lately. Talk about an openly gay actor, and also talk about something you know a little bit about, Ace Lundon. I don't know if you guys are watching the show, The People versus O.J. Simpson.
No, I'm not.
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay. It is off the hook. It is so good. Now, I remember being obsessed with the O.J. Simpson trial. Ace, you may have been going through some difficult times back then. Donny were probably, playing Ring Around the Rosies. But back when O.J. Simpson got off, scot-free from allegedly killing his wife and Ron Goldman, or ex-wife and Ron Goldman, I was all about that show. Well, now Ryan Murphy, who is the creator, producer of Glee and Nip Tuck and American Horror Story, is doing a series called The People versus O.J. Simpson. It's called American Crime Story. And in it, he's running the whole story of the O.J. Simpson trial.
I don't know that I'd want to see all that again. It was on the news 24/7, back in that day. And
there is a jewel of a performance in it. A lot of good performances in it, but I don't know if you know who the actress Sarah Paulson is.
No, I don't.
Donny, do you watch American Horror Story, or have you?
I do, yes. Of course,
Okay.
Gaga's been in it naturally. I've watched it.
Okay. Well, Sarah Paulson has been on American Horror Story for years. And in the one where they were the freak show, she played the two-headed woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know who I'm talking about now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I know what
right.
you're talking about.
Okay. Sarah Paulson is she's bisexual, but lately she's been gay. She's been attracted to women. And she plays Marcia Clark. And she is totally selling it big time. I mean, I can't imagine she's not going to get an Emmy Award. Well, recently she has started dating another actress named Holland Taylor. Holland Taylor, you guys, I don't know if you know who she is. I don't know if you watch 2.5 Men. But she was on 2.5 Men. She played Charlie and Alan's mother. You'd know her if you saw her. She was in, let me see, what else is she in? She was in The L Word, if you ever watched The L Word. Anyways, Holland Taylor is an actress who is 32 years her senior. And Sarah Paulson is 41, and she's dating this actress. And she says, my choices, this is what Sarah Paulson says. She's tried to keep her distance from the hubbub, but acknowledged my choices in romantic partners have not been conventional. And therefore, the idea that it is other, quote unquote, within the quote, makes it compelling. Now, before that, she dated an actress named Cherry Jones, who was a Broadway actress. Before that, she dated a man named Tracy Letts, who wrote the play and then subsequently the movie August Osage County. So I don't think this is really getting that. I don't know. It's not getting the controversy that I think that it may have gotten if it was two men or a man and a woman. I don't know why, but I just wanted to throw it out there. Ace.
Well, don't you think, Sean, that in the lesbian community, they do not see age differences the same way the gay men see age differences. I mean, you can find lesbian couples that have been together for 20, 30 years, and one of them is 80 and the other one is now 50 or something like that, and they've been together for 20 years. So I don't know that there is that, I think it exists, but maybe that's the reason.
You think it's different for lesbians?
Yes, I think women, the female mind is quite different from the male mind.
I agree with Ace, actually, because I've definitely noticed a lot of ageism in the gay male community.
Well, that is very definitely true. People are constantly saying, once you've hit 40 or over the hill or what have you. Again, I've said this to you guys before. Maybe it's because I'm married. I don't really feel that, or I'm not in that category of judgment, if you will. What she did say, and this is a quote from her, is, if my life choices had to be predicated based on what was expected of me from a community on either side, that's going to make me feel really straitjacketed, and I don't want to feel that.
Good for her. Yeah, that's where we really should be. But it's not always true that it's that way, especially for the males. It's like when you go, let's say we took a vacation to Palm Springs, one of the gay capitals, so-called. And we're there, and all of the swimming pool parties and everything like that. Very seldom are you going to find a lot of real hunky young guys in the same pool with a bunch of old wrinkly ones, Very seldom.
That's really sad.
It is. And it's one of the things I wanted to talk about on this show, about the idea that do you know elderly gays or elderly straight people, period? And they don't have to be, I'm talking about the gay community. Do you know, are they in your life, Sean and Donny? Do you have friends in that category? Like me. I'm an elderly gay. And so we're friends, but we don't hang together, so to speak. Do you have friends like that, Sean?
Well, I'm kind of on the precipice right now, so.
Yes.
But when I was younger, when I was in Donny's age range, I had friends who were in their late 40s, early 50s. It's never been a major issue for me. I've felt the judgment, the reverse of that, where I've been younger and I have been in situations with, gay men who were older who kind of sort of judged me in those situations, that maybe I was just I know this is probably hard to envision knowing the way I am and look now, but like I was just some little twink who wasn't smart. And I remember going to a party and I had read one of Ayn Rand's books, and this older gay guy was like, I can't even believe you know who Ayn Rand is. She's...
This gets to the point of communication, or the lack thereof, that we have not only in the gay community, but in the plain community. And I was thinking, if the youth want to know how they can make their lives count more, what about this idea? Help elders in your community. Either you can help them with their internets and things like that, and in turn, it may end up where the elders will invite you over for dinner, and you, as a young person, you're helping the elder do something that they really can appreciate, and you will end up getting a free meal. So I think that's something we need to think about in our community.
Or how about just doing it because it shows kindness and generosity and character?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and as people get older, I think that we sometimes think or we view them as being feeble-minded just because they become a little more feeble physically.
I've always had elders in my life. I don't know why, because I've always felt that I'm on the same level with them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what their knowledge is, etc. I figure, okay, they may have years on me and more experience, but my mind is capable of taking all of that experience that they have into consideration. And so I've like I talk a lot with people that are in their 90s now, even, you know.
Yeah, well, that's not too far off from where you are.
Shut up.
Wow, you get off at least 3 age jokes with me every show. You could take one every once in a while. Put your big girl panties on, Ace.
Yes, I will.
I would never throw it at you if I didn't sense that you were feeling much better on tonight's show.
Oh, I can't take all of this criticism.
I know. Okay. You could go off and go journal and call your therapist or your sponsor and work it all out with them, and then Donny and I will be here.
Yeah. Now, Donny, do you have elders in your life a lot that are in the gay community?
Not so much in the gay community, sadly, but beyond the gay community, I do have a lot of elders in my life.
Well, that's good.
In my experience, a lot of older gay men distance themselves from younger gay men, and much the opposite as well. Younger gay men distance themselves from older gay men. And it's really sad. I mean, I have a few gay friends who were in their late 40s, early 50s, but I mean, excluding you, Sean, because you don't do this, or neither do you, Ace, but a lot of them kind of adjust how they act around me because either they feel like I'm not experienced or sophisticated enough, or they, in a way, don't feel like they can relate to me on any level, which kind of, it's really sad because, I mean, we all have had similar experiences at some point or another in our lives, regardless how young or old we are.
Lack of communication. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of, I know I've gotten this comment from a lot of older gay men and people beyond the gay community that, oh, Donny, I'm older than you. Why would you want to be around me? Like, I'm boring. I'm like, you are certainly not boring. Like, you're fascinating, and I enjoy your presence. Like, I think that everyone's just used to this huge amount of segregation within the gay community with regard to age, and I think what we're doing right now, for example, by talking about it, is one way to overcome it.
Now, one of the things that I get is from people is they'll tell me, Ace, you've got so many young people in your life. What in the world is going on? I said, because I'm young. I'm young. They are young. And they are old, and I am old. We are total composites of one another. And how do you get along with these young people? I said, I'm as sexy as any of them, that's for damn sure. And I'm not afraid to show it.
And you're charming as hell.
Charming, yes. Okay, now I'm blushing.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, you two, get a room.
Sean, join us by all means.
Yes, ménage à toi. Okay.
Well, that's escalated quickly.
Yes.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
that's one thing. In the young, the medium, or the elderly communities, sex is always a possibility there. And if you're not afraid of sex, or, it's like we were saying, I'm not afraid of being around those hunky little, little fuckers in the community that are having an affair every 2 or 3 hours. I can get along with that. And if they want to include me in the affair, I'm right there for them, And sometimes it does happen. And then they're really, oh my gosh, not bad, Ace, not bad. So we need to come together sexually, mentally sexually first, and then the rest of it will happen.
Well, it's all about what certain, media venues are pushing at us as well. They're telling us, this is pretty, this is sexy, this is intelligent. And, and of course we have media in our face all the time. If we all have cell phones and wear our phones in our hands, in our face most of the time.
Yeah.
So, if you're on Facebook and you're following this magazine or that magazine, then I'm telling you, there's times, and I'm a relatively secure individual. There's times where I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so fat and so ugly. And it doesn't happen very often, but I think a lot of it's because of what is being put in our face around the clock, 24/7, commercials.
And I've got the situation of, now you think you're like, too fat and ugly. I have the situation that I am too skinny and ugly. and yet I found a young guy recently that said, Ace, you're thin like a teenager is thin. And I thought, interesting. Because I thought, teenagers thin. Yes, they are thin. When I stop and really think about it, they're really thin. And I'm definitely thin too, So it has the pluses factor. Maybe we can talk about the penis after Donny does the commercials for us now.
You're up, Donny.
Let me rise to the occasion.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay, well, let's give a big thank you to our sponsors who support our show. First off, we'd like to thank an awesome company run by our brilliant engineer, Miraculous Mike Means, and his lovely wife, our girl Juanita, for great stage and theatrical design and jewelry design, audio and video editing. Please visit their website at www.eclectic-resources.net. And next, and equally as fabulous, let's thank our friends at Diversity Rules Magazine, a wonderful LGBT-focused online magazine that can be found at www.diversityrulesmagazine.com. And now available as an app on your smartphone, Diversity Rules Magazine, celebrating the diversity of our humanity. And we're thrilled to now be featured on Next Big Thing Radio, a terrific podcasting website featuring funny and informative shows from our fellow podcasters. Please visit their website at nextbigthingradio.net. And of course, like every trendy place has now, they also have an app for your smartphone. Next Big Thing Radio, podcasting for a new age. And of course, if you would like to find out more about the delightfully legendary Ace Lundon, you can visit his blog, Scattered Thoughts from a Scrambled Brain, where he waxes funny and philosophic thoughts on a wide range of topics. You can find that at acelundon.wordpress.com. If you enjoy YouTube videos, you're more than welcome to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/DonnyWinter. I do a variety of videos ranging from discussions about LGBT activism to random geeky things to gushing about unattainable celebrities that I refer to as my husband. And also, if you would like to know more about the wonderful Sean Chandler and the delightfully talented, witty individual that we have with us every day on our show, you can visit his writer's website at www.seanchandler.com, and you can follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is Sean at the Flash. And of course, visit our Lundon Calling London Bridge website for posted shows and updates, london-calling.com. And naturally, make sure that you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/London Bridge. And there you have it.
Yes, thank you, Donny. Thank you. Okay. Do you remember the fear that religious mothers placed in the minds of their sons, their young sons, by telling them, now this goes back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s, So maybe you don't remember. Unless you're a woman, you won't remember it then either. By telling them that if they played with their pee-pee or their penis, it would fall off. Have you heard about that?
Ace, this is one of your favorite subjects.
Of course it is, because we are ruled by the penis. Let's face it. Anyway, yeah, well, if you don't remember, it's probably because you're a girl or something. Anyway, boys back then lived with this and waited for the inevitable to happen. You know, of course, over the decades, I haven't noticed many men without a penis. So Mama was doing what? She was placing a fear that if she could stop her son from playing with his penis, he wouldn't go to hell. Now, religion, let's face it, they do know how to place fears in the minds of the populace. For instance, the hell fires of damnation. Oh, God, you know. Oh, well, that just goes on and on. They are good at placing fear in the minds of people. Religion is. For instance, can you believe the ridiculous idea of these men, the Muslim men, waiting to go to heaven so that they can find hundreds of virgins waiting for them? Now, talk about insanity. I don't know what Muhammad was smoking when he came up with this idea, but certainly the virgins are not from Earth. You know, there just aren't that many. So it's fun, it seems, to live in a religion fantasy.
Yeah.
What is insane is that people actually believe in these silly fantasies, like your penis will fall off, or you're going to have 140 virgins waiting for you in heaven. Why don't they take care of the wives when they're here? The Muhammad would not. I tell you, you need to study what Muhammad said and such, because this is really out in the ballpark.
Well, it's funny that you said that, because on Easter Sunday was just a couple of days ago, and David and I were watching TV, and I swear to God, they had, if it wasn't a nun movie, it was the story of Christ. And I forgot what we were watching. It was something like King of Kings or something like that, a movie that came out in the 40s or 50s. And I looked at David at one point and I said, can you imagine if somebody were to just crop up and start spouting this kind of shit, like to the world as it stands now? They'd be hauled off to the booby hatch in no time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I mean, I was like thinking to myself, okay, if this guy playing Jesus, if this is a real thing, if he just started with all this business, you're like, whoa, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, I wasn't raised by a lot of religious people. It was always, if you played with yourself, you'd go blind. You'd get hair on your palms.
That one, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, there's Boy George has a song from Culture Club. It's called "Miss Me Blind," and it's all about masturbation.
You know, that shows how times have changed too, just in the last 80 years. You know, because when I was growing up, these type of things were totally taboo to even talk about in public or with friends even, you know, which is really strange. And fortunately, I had a dad who had only a fourth grade education and was a realist and what do you call it? He's street smart, you know? And so I had a chance to have that, even though he and I fought continually. He would tell me reality things rather than what mother was telling me from the church, you know, and that helped me. But it also made me very curious, which is probably why I also went on to get a degree in theology and biblical literature, you know. So it's strange how we end up doing what we do in life like that.
Well, my mother had 3 boys, so she was just like, just try not to get it on the sheets.
Oh, yeah. I think that's where mothers eventually find out, oh, he played with himself, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back, if it's okay, to go back to the topic of judgmental gay men, if I may. And this isn't necessarily gay men, but I have a combination ass, chap, no pass, A for effort going on.
Okay.
And it's regarding another gay celebrity. And Donny, you may have read about this because you may be a fan, because I know that you like comic books and stuff and comic book shows, right? Yes?
For the most part.
Okay, you probably like him more than Ace or me, but there is an openly gay actor named Wentworth Miller. And he was on a show called Prison Break a while back. And he's now on a new show. I forget what it's called, but it's about superheroes. And Wentworth Miller, he was on Prison Break, and then he went off Prison Break, and then he came out of the closet. And he is when he was on Prison Break, he was all cut and lean, and all the girls and the gay boys considered him a major sex symbol. Well, he came out of the closet as a result of when they had the Winter Olympics back in, was it Russia?
No.
Not too long ago, and they had issues. There was a lot of there were people who didn't necessarily want to go over there and not perform, but participate in the Olympics because of their feelings about gay people. Remember, it was a big deal that Johnny Weir went to do the skating announcement. Well, this is when Wentworth Miller came out of the closet and said he was gay. Well, during this time, he also put on a little extra weight. And so he was set up as an internet meme recently, and it's a side-by-side meme of himself as the ripped guy from Prison Break, and at his heaviest, which I'm heavier than him. But these people said it was something like, when you quit acting and find out the power of the number one combo at McDonald's or something like that. It was really, really uncool. And so he wrote a response to it on Facebook where he talks about that time being it was around 2010, and he had semi-retired from acting. And he was going through a very, very depressing time in his life. He was suicidal. He struggled in silence. This is actually also the time when he came out of the closet, by the way.
Yeah, that's when they are suicidal. Yeah,
right. And it was 2010, lowest point in his life, and he turned to food. Food made him feel comfortable, and he put on weight. And so this recently and lately, because I think he's taken it off since, this Facebook page called The Lad Bible, which I think is out of the United Kingdom, if I'm doing my research correctly. They put this side-by-side picture of him and this meme. He got upset, and he wrote this whole long Facebook post that it just happened because he was in a bad place. Now, I get really, really tired of the fat shaming that goes on in the gay community, because we're not all as skinny as you, Ace. We're not all, some of us carry around extra weight, and then you get older and you put on extra weight. I mean, and for some reason, we're turning into the women of the 70s who became anorexic and overly focused on our bodies because it was just, one fashion magazine after another being thrown at us. It's just weight. And as long as you're healthy, then that's what it is. And I don't know. It chaps my ass that this happens. It really does. Because there are a lot of people out there who don't want somebody skinny. They don't want a gym bunny or a muscle head. They just want a beefy guy. So there's
Sean, I may only be a 29 or 30-inch waistline at the moment, but I was 38. I had to, all my clothes that I had, they looked huge. I was swimming in them after I started losing weight. So I've been fat, 38 inches fat, which was a lot for little me.
Well, yeah, and you're also at that age where as people get older, they start losing weight as well.
Yeah.
When they get to your age. So,
talking about that, I was thinking how over the years we've watched on television, that new thing that's been around recently, television, where all of the women were on these diet things, like, I don't know, Nutrisystem or whatever they're called, and it showed all the women losing weight. Well, lately, I don't know if you've really noticed this or not, but lately there are diet systems for men to lose weight also. And I'm saying this is good. And it's finally come around that not only the women need to lose weight to keep themselves from becoming diabetic and everything, and the men do too, So I think it's good that we have finally come to that point of the circle with regard to dieting for men, that it's okay to diet, guy. It's okay,
Well, it's okay if you're doing it to make sure that you're keeping your health in line.
Yeah,
we don't need to put shitty memes like this on Facebook to shame this guy. I mean, that's really
dieting.
Cool.
Dieting is one thing, but body shaming, no matter what context it is unacceptable. And unfortunately, in the gay community, it is so frequent that it's depressing. Like, it's really sad to see. I've had gay men call me fat before, because I'm not gonna lie, I got a little cuddliness on me. It's natural. But a lot of people think that you need to have this beach body, and it's no, the media has infused that standard in our minds that's what we need to be.
I agree with all of that, but Sean also knows that over our years together, burgers and fries and big fat thighs, I'm one of those people that has always pushed the idea that we have got to get control of the overweight obesity problem. I've always felt that the plague of the last century was started only in about 1980 with the AIDS thing, and it became a plague of that century, and it still continues on into the new century now, the 21st. And as a result, that millions and billions of dollars probably have been spent from that plague of AIDS. But I am a firm believer that the plague of this 21st century is the plague of obesity, and what it's going to cost the citizens of the world is going to totally outdo anything that the AIDS plague has possibly cost, because obesity, it just gets one thing after the other. It's like Dad said when he had a 60-inch waistline or something like that. He says, God, I haven't seen Junior and the boys for years. He couldn't see his jewel box. No way with a 60-inch waistline, even if he laid on his back and such, unless he had a mirror in the ceiling, So it is a problem that we face in the world, not just in the United States.
Oh, and I completely agree with you that it's a problem. I know some people's solution to the problem, though, is by fat shaming people into making a change. And I don't think that needs to happen.
You don't need to fat shame them. You need to let them know. I have a dear friend here, and he knows that he's got a belly that is getting way far out there, and I'm so concerned because I love this man. He's a dear, dear person, and I can see where in just a short period of time, that belly fat that he's got is going to bring him to a point where he's going to have to go to the doctor and say, what's going on? And the doctor will say, how about diabetes? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I tell him every once in a while. I say, you want me to figure out a diet for you? He says, I know, Ace, I know. I said, well, listen, your biggest problem is that you love to eat. You are one of those men that just loves to eat, and you can eat yourself into oblivion. If you just took smaller, instead of one potato, two potatoes, eat only one, or something like that. And so I continually kind of ride him a little bit because I'm concerned. I love him.
Well, you get a lot of flack for smoking, so
Yeah.
So I think you have.
Yeah,
Right.
Someone asked me, Sean, just the other day, how long has it been since you stopped smoking cigarettes? I said, since October. Oh, my God, a half a year. Don't you feel a lot better? I said, no, I don't feel any different. To stop smoking. I said, I miss the cigarettes, but I have replaced the cigarettes with these miserable cigars, which you can't really inhale, but that's okay. It's just something to put in my mouth. It's a like a little sucker.
It's a placebo.
A placebo, yes.
Okay, so here's where the no passe for effort vote comes along. Just today, because I went in and clicked on the Lad Bible's Facebook page, they issued an apology. They said, Wentworth Miller, directly to him, we posted 2 pictures of you last night to our Facebook page, but today we want to say we got this very, very wrong. Mental health is no joke or laughing matter. Yeah. We certainly didn't want to cause you pain by reminding you of such a low point in your life. Causing distress and upset to innocent or vulnerable people is simply not acceptable. And the Lad Bible continues to cover how prevalent mental health issues are among our audience, as well as the damaging stigma that surrounds such matters. Once again, we got this very wrong, and we want to say we are sorry, the Lad Bible team. And then they listed suicide prevention, Trevor Project, some UK websites for people who could call. So do we give them an A for effort?
You better believe it. A big A.
Yeah, I'd give them an A for effort.
I would too. I think that they did it right away, and I don't think they necessarily realized that he was going through that. I mean, there's a certain amount of notoriety that celebrities have.
When I was in personal management, this young actor who became quite well known, but when I took him as a client because he really did have talent. And I'm saying, oh, my God. And here I've got this little rotund man who was really definitely overweight, not obese, just really overweight. And I said, I have got to somehow or other help him because he's not going to make it as an actor because he looks like a little doughboy, and it'll just never work. So one day I told him, I says, okay, I've got something. I can afford this right now. So I am buying you a floor. What are these old mirrors that they used to have where you'd have this mirror in your bedroom and
floor to ceiling mirror.
That's what they're called. Yeah. And yeah. So I bought him that. And he said, what for? I said, I want you to put this in your bedroom, where you're there alone with yourself, and every day I want you to get naked and look in that mirror. And he did, day after day after day, and slowly but surely the pounds began to melt off. And I said, what are you doing? He says, I can't stand to see myself. I said, oh, really? Okay, that's good. Thank goodness. You're finally into reality. Well, he became pretty good looking as far as his body was concerned, and became a well-known actor. And I'm not going to tell you who it was because that's not nice. Well, I could, but I am nice most of the time. And so we have to help one another, And as a personal manager, I could help him without shaming him. because he would shame himself. And that's the best way to do it.
I don't know if I'm buying that.
No?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, I tell you, like I look in the mirror now and I'm saying, who is that skinny, bony individual? You know? What happened to my six pack? It became a no pack, you know?
Can we just look in the mirror and just not put that pressure on ourselves?
Well, you don't. The thing is, you could look in the mirror and not put the pressure on yourself, but strange as it may seem, you will put the pressure on yourself, but it will be subtly, and you'll do it yourself. And that way it works.
Okay. I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on that myself, but I don't know how you feel about it, Donny.
I feel the same way you do.
Yeah, to me that's passive aggressive body shaming is the way that feels. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you're fat. I'm going to have you look in the mirror until you tell yourself that you're fat. But the reason why I'm having you look in the mirror is because I think you're fat. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it could sound that way, but when a person's career is on the line and when their health is on the line, you're doing it for a different reason.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, actors, they do have careers where they have to be certain sizes for certain roles.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they're heavier, and that's one of the things that I thought about this Wentworth Miller guy. I'm like, yeah, he's a little heavy during this time. Maybe he's not making any movies. He'll take it off. Actors do that all the time.
Orson Welles was an acquaintance of mine, and Victor Bono was an acquaintance of mine. Both of them were obese. And they knew they were obese, you know, but they didn't know what to do to get rid of their obesity, you know. And so they had to live with it, and they died way too young.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, you can eat right, you can exercise, you can get lots of sleep, you can do all that, and you're still going to die.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The circle has to be completed, and the completion is physical death.
Yes, indeed. Hey, did you guys hear about this poor bisexual teenager who was killed by some very, very nasty people in their 20s out in Alabama?
Yes.
Nicholas Hawkins was his name. And I don't know why this landed on my radar, but I realized, I mean now, because it happened in February, but I realized it happened the first day I drove into Alabama to see my sister, but who lives in Daphne, Alabama, which is very close to Mobile. But this poor kid, he said he was bisexual. I'm going to say he probably would have rolled out to be gay. He was shot to death in a rural area, just probably about, 25 miles northwest of Birmingham, Alabama. His name was Nicholas Hawkins. And there have been 5 people arrested on the charges of murder for this kid. A guy named Joshua Adam Reese, Colton Eccles of Sumiton, Alabama. They're looking. We have here Tessa Wise. She was arrested for hindering prosecution. Denny Jarvis and Corey Connor, both arrested and charged with murder.
And they were. Are these all young people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 20, 22 years old. The kid was Nicholas Hawkins was 19 years old. Joshua Adams was 21 years old. Joshua Adam Reese. Nicholas was 20.
I will lay odds that they all come from good Christian families. Ha.
Well,
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, this just really pisses me off, and I'm having been in Alabama, and I always tell my sister, I'm always like, there are good people in all parts of the world and bad people in all parts of the world. I'm going to say that I'm sure we have listeners in Alabama. It could be very backwards.
Yeah. Well, take South Dakota. Jeez. Just a few years ago, one of the farmers to the south of where I grew up had somehow or other people were calling him a homosexual, and wouldn't you know, somebody came and shot him because he was a homo. And this is in this century, you know. Oh God, in South Dakota, you know.
Well, someone let the main suspect out of jail on $50,000 bond after being charged with an attempted murder in 2013 when he was accused of hitting a man over the head with a gun and trying to shoot him.
Oh.
So they let this guy out, and then now he's involved in killing this poor kid who wanted to go into cosmetology, not hurting anyone. And the thing that really is upsetting is that this kid called his mom and said, "Mom, I think somebody is chasing after me and trying to kill me." And I don't want to leave the show on an icky note like that, because I know we're going to wrap up, but I just think that what the hell are we teaching our kids?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so concerned because during the Reagan years when he was, I don't know, it was governor, I believe, or something or other, he put forth an edict that let all of the mentally ill and emotionally unstable people out of the asylums, you know, because it was costing too much to care for them.
I remember that.
We have got people like that are mentally unstable, and they should be in asylums or institutions or whatever you want to call it, and having care given to them, and they should not be on the streets. And it's the same with the political or the ISIS people. They're insane. They're out of their heads. They need to be incarcerated, you know?
Yes, like I think I put on Facebook, the one true modern miracle that we'll have is if somebody can actually figure out how to reason with insanity.
Yeah.
That will be a miracle to me.
Yeah, you're right. Because now I had an uncle who was insane. Nobody in the family liked to talk about it, but he was nuts, you know. And grandma, fortunately, had him put into the Minnesota Insane Asylum. That's what they were called back then. And now I don't know what they call them nowadays. But he was there, and he was there for years and years and years and years, you know. And that was the place that he should have been, because he was hurting young women when he was out, because he was cuckoo in cabeza. Mm-hmm.
Well, 6 people going off on a very small, kind of timid little gay boy just pisses me off. It's like, pick on somebody your own size, you little asshole.
Yeah, that angers me too.
It's like Matthew Shepard. I met him when I lived in Dakota, and he was a wonderful, nice young man. A little bit on the effeminate side, maybe, but to be killed in that vicious way that they did, packed him onto a fence. Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we've got about a minute left, Ace.
Well, this is such an inspiring show. Anyway, folks, we live in this age, and we have to cope with what's going on. We have to face it, not be afraid of it, and don't worry that our penis is going to fall off or whatever by some religious person telling us that we are going to hell. You know, this is just the way it is. We've got to come to our senses, and sanity has got to be gained. And so I think I better tell you to vote, 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 vote. Okay. Anyway, folks, St. Augustine said, love God and do what you please. This is good advice, because if you do love God. What you do then will be what pleases God, because God will let you know what you're doing if you really love him.